Hello, hello, hello. Antphrodite here, your pop culture psychic, back to you again with another interesting reading. And I have a special guest today. By popular demand, Emily D. Baker, the Queen of Law, is finally here. Emily, say hi.
Hi, do I get to be the pop culture lawyer today? I feel
Yes.
like that's where I'm at.
Yes, you are. So you guys have been hounding me to work with Emily, and it's finally happened. I'm so excited. So we're going to be doing two readings, one on my channel, one on hers, about the Alec Baldwin case and the alleged shooting, whatever the hell happened. I am very much in the dark about this, okay?
And I am not.
Emily is not. So she is the one full of the knowledge and the law and what's going on. And I'm the one that's going to tell you what I see through the cards. I am so excited. And if you guys like this, we will be doing more.
Yes.
Again, there's one part on my channel, one part on hers. We're probably going to split it up where one person is going to get the shooting part and the other with Alec, and the other one is going to get the conspiracy theory part of what's going on with all the other people involved. So I'm super excited about this. And
I am too. I've been wanting you to do this video since I started covering this, like these cases, and they keep growing and the lawsuits keep growing and the lawsuits are getting so messy. And there's the allegations are like, well, how do you know that? And what about this? And then he keeps giving interviews. So now we have his statements too. But I want to know what you see. I'm so excited about this.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
So without further ado, let's just get started. These are all alleged friend chambers only. And let's go.
Absolutely. So, with the Rust shooting on October 21st, 2021, there was a shooting on the set of Rust. Rust is a movie being filmed in New Mexico. Alec Baldwin was in a small set with the cinematographer who was fatally shot, with the director who was shot and injured, himself, and a number of other individuals. After that happened, everybody was like, how did this happen? How was a live bullet on set? Because this wasn't a set accident where it was a blank or it was a dummy round. It was a live bullet. No one knows how that live bullet got onto set, though there are some conspiracy theories and a new lawsuit that we'll be talking about later with regard to that bullet. Alec Baldwin then gave a roadside interview and then gave an interview on ABC talking about, the real tragedy here is we don't know how this bullet got on set, and talking about how he was manipulating the gun when it was in his hand and went off. He said he never pulled the trigger. And we've got a very interesting criminal investigation going on that has not wrapped up yet about whether anyone will be charged criminally for the death of Helena Hutchins. And then there are multiple lawsuits and growing over the condition of the set Rust. That morning, a number of crew had quit over safety. So there's a lot of intrigue about what Alec Baldwin did, what he knew. Did he pull the trigger of the gun? Did he know it was loaded? Did he do it on purpose? Was he angry with the cinematographer for being over directed? What was the nature of their relationship? He said that they were good friends. And then it comes out they had just met a few days before. His statements have been very conflicting. And I am very interested to see what you see. Hopefully that's enough context for the mess of it all. And it's, again, a woman went to work as a cinematographer and was killed in a set accident unlike anything we've ever seen.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
So am I.
Okay.
Because I have thoughts, and I'm interested to see. I'm so interested to see what you see, because it feels like in every statement Baldwin has made, it's not the whole story. Like it feels very much like there's a lot he's holding back.
So I'm gonna do him and what's immediately around him to see like what's going on, and I'm gonna see his connection to the incident.
Yeah.
So I'll start with like a picture. Like the first card will be him, then it'll be what's around him, and then from there it'll be a comparison of the three. So
interesting.
All right, let's pull up the card.
How you do it. Let's pull up the card.
Yeah, let's pull up the card cam. So we're doing our best here. Hopefully this shows up.
Well, this looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult with the green screen, but if I can put it over here, I think you should be able to see it.
I see it perfectly.
Okay, good. Okay, well, Alec Baldwin showed up as the Ace of Pentacles, which is money.
So there was a lot of conversation about this being a low budget set, about whether they weren't spending enough money on safety, about the armorer doing too many jobs, and whether money and cost cutting was a factor that led to this death.
So I could tell you the only thing on his mind was allegedly friendship was money. Definitely. There is money motivation here, 100%. The King of Cups is reversed, so that's about kind of being emotionally desensitized. So I see that as being like emotionally numb, also very drained. And the Lover's card is reversed, which says that he had a direct disagreement or issue with an individual prior to this. It might be over money. Because the money was the first card. So I think perhaps if I were to guess, this looks like budget issues or cutting corners, or perhaps, it could even be insurance issues or maybe trying to get something from insurance. That would be like a sinister way to look at this. But all I can tell you is there is 100% a budget issue, money motivation here, blatantly.
So it seemed like there was a disagreement with him and the cinematographer because most of the camera crew walked off a set the morning of this shooting over money issues. And Helena Hutchins was the one kind of going back and forth with Baldwin about that. And he was a producer and an actor in this. So he was directly involved in that budgeting.
Okay. So this is him. Okay. So Nine of Pentacles is about being an individual who does what I want to do, creates what I want to create. This is like his brainchild. Okay. So this would be like, this is my baby. He's willing to spend the money, do what he needs to do, right? But then we see the Two of Wands on the other side of this, which is friction between two people and a lot of tension. And then between the two of them is a burden not worth having. So for me, he was trying to find a way to cut corners, but he was also trying to find ways to avoid whoever was in his way. So if that ends up being the director, he was trying to go around her or avoid her. So for me, I do see friction between the two of them. That shows up very clearly. But it's like everything that was happening was, how do I word that? It's like, think of it like spite work. Like, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it my way. Like, we're looking at the Three of Pentacles here as like job and career, and the Ten of Pentacles is like long term. So or money. So for me, it's like, I don't want to pay all the money for the insurance for this, or I don't want to do all this. I know this is protocol, but I don't have to do it. Like, whatever, it'll be fine. We'll work it out. The Knight of Cups, there's immaturity. So to me, I see that as someone who has an ego, who's like, I'm a little bit childish. I'll get my way.
Alec Baldwin, somebody who has an ego. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. And so it's like I cut corners all the time. It'll be fine. So I'm going to be honest with you. This incident, I don't think that I have a hard time believing that the director had any inclination of what was going on. I see the director in the dark here. And I see Alec cutting corners. I also see him kind of being a little bit spiteful, and being like, you know what? Like, screw you.
Right. Like the sense I got in his interview was a little of like, who are you to tell me? Like,
Yes.
that's kind of what came across. Like, who are you to tell me how to do it? I'm Alec Baldwin.
That's exactly what I see.
Okay.
Okay, so we do have the Death card here and the Fool. So I'm going to be honest with you. Obviously, when I do stuff like this, sometimes death is literal. In this indication, it is. But the Fool is accidental. So I do think it was an accidental death. The Eight of Wands is reversed, which means that something was either production was halted or slowed down. I forget what you said, but that's what that means, is like something was slowed down, and something was like pushed to a halt, and he wanted to speed things up.
They lost a lot of time because the rest of the camera crew walked off set that day. And so they took like Video Village with them. They took a bunch of production stuff with them, and it like halted filming that whole morning. And so when they got into the church in the afternoon, when this happened, it seemed like they were not supposed to be rehearsing the way that they were, but then we're trying to force things through. That's what's alleged in the lawsuits.
Yeah, I mean, so the Four of Swords is like a rejection and a healing of wounds. The Page of Cups is sensitivity. Nine of Swords is stress. So for me, I definitely see regret and remorse from him. I do. I'm going to be honest. I don't think his intention was to do anything like this. I see this as arrogance, perhaps maybe cockiness as well, like a ignorance there. But I'm trying to understand their dynamic, but it just seems like a power struggle. Emperor is a dominating force, very masculine dominating force. The Page of Swords is about fighting every battle. So for me, it's like, I see him as the type of person who would pick every single battle and not pick and choose. So like down to like the color of a shoe, or like the time that we're doing things, or the backdrop, like just everything is a fight with him because he wants to be in control.
The power
And
struggle seems very clear from some of what came out in his interviews, that like the cinematographer was kind of taking the lead and giving maybe more direction than he's used to. Cause like, I'm the big star. Who are you to tell me what to do? And that came across in a lot of his interviews. And he seemed to be trying to downplay that tension. But then in search warrants, they're asking for his phone. And it looked like they were trying to see the back and forth between him and the cinematographer to see if there was anything there. But on most movie sets, the cinematographer is not giving as much active direction. So
right.
it seems like they're like that power dynamic is coming through in the lawsuits as well.
Yeah, no, they had a very weird dynamic. Also, it reads as like hot and cold and extremely inappropriate between the two of them, like personal mixed with business. It's just very gray area to me,
Mm.
like really inappropriate between the two of them. I don't like that.
There's a lot
Now,
of speculation about how inappropriate their relationship was.
well, okay, because the Two of Wands is here and the Lover's card. Two of Wands can sometimes be inappropriate in terms of like sex or in terms of flirting or in terms of boundary breaking. And then we do see the Lover's card reverse. So for me, I am a little bit concerned about how close they were. I don't know if I would necessarily clarify, like, I don't know if I would say romance as much as I would say like passion, maybe is like a
And
better.
that might come across if they were, I mean, because creatives can't be really passionate if they were creatively butting heads. I wonder if that could
Right,
be coming up with like, no, I want it this way. No, I want it this way. Um,
right.
and that creating the tension between them because they didn't know each other very long, but it seemed that there was tension there. And it's hard to read into what the tension was. Is it tension that flared to anger that led to this? Or is it just that he was very domineering on set, but she was standing her ground as a creative too?
I think it's one of those things where like it's like you have so much tension between the two of you that it's palpable. It's like that. It's something that would read on screen, by the way. Like if there was footage of the two of them, like B-roll, you would see it. Like it's palpable. To me, it gives very much like I hate you so much that I like you type of vibe. I
Yeah.
think that's the best way I could describe that. And that's kind of the way it's hard to quantify that with cards like
No,
these.
like, "You're a pain in my ass, but I respect you, but I
Right,
you."
exactly, and then that's something that could often be misread as sexual or could become sexual depending on a scenario. Here, I'm not sold on that, but what I am saying is that if you were to perceive it that way as a random person on set, I could see why you would perceive it that way because their tension is palpable. So, yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying, the Eight of Swords here. I can tell you that there has to be footage of the two of them doing petty shit to each other, like him cutting a corner, the director or whatever it is, this person cutting corners, like a constant like I'm gonna get one over on him over here, I'm gonna get one over on them on over here, like a back and forth and a tit for tat. This wasn't the first one, this was just the worst one.
Okay.
I don't know if there was pranks played or what there was, but there was definitely like I'm gonna take this from you, I'm gonna take that from you, like it there is a back and forth here, and it was going on in pre-production as well. King of Pentacles reversed.
I wonder if that's why the police wanted his phone because they did say specifically in the search warrant they were looking for text messages too. Um,
Yeah, so Magician is reversed. So these are emails, text messages, things like that. But this is pre-production. So if they haven't looked before they started filming, they're missing like a big portion of this because there was issues before they even started filming. I also feel like there was issues with location because Nine of Cups is manifesting. So that's like everything I've ever wanted. And then there's tons of issues there. So for me, I see that as location. I see that as actors that were able to get. I see that as budget. I also see that as plot. So I'm pretty sure I feel like he kind of killed the plot for some reason. Like I think he took it in an egotistical way, where it's like me. I want it like this. I don't give a crap if it doesn't do well. The Page of Wands is like, excuse me, the Six of Wands is like an ego card. So it's like I want to be the star. I want to look amazing. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if the scene that they were filming when this incident happened was not even originally supposed to be filmed that way, or if he wasn't even supposed to be a part of it because it's giving me like I do what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I also think that that might be a reason why the prop and everything wasn't like inspected properly, everything like that, because I think this was a last minute thing that he wanted.
this
That's what it
wasn't
reads.
That's so funny. This wasn't from the other lawsuit from the armorer. The armorer said him and the church wasn't even supposed to be a rehearsal. It wasn't even supposed to be a blocking. They were just sitting in the church talking it through. And then somehow he ends up standing up with the prop in his hand, ready to go, but it was never even supposed to be a rehearsal. So it's really interesting that you bring that up because that comes up in a different lawsuit.
Well, we can go more into that in the second part. But so what's interesting is he wanted okay, I'm in his delusional mind right now. So the Ace of Wands, the Birth of Something New, the Ten of Cups is like family, happily ever after. The Four of Pentacles putting a lot in. He wants to create like a series. Like he in his mind, this was going to be like okay, I'm going to use a giant example, but like Star Wars or fucking I don't know, like Marvel, like him, it was like, or Indiana Jones, where there's like 6 different ones. Like that's what he envisioned. And he thought he was going to be like, oh my God, I'm the coolest guy ever. Like I'm going to be that's what he was thinking. He was going to create a universe. I don't think anybody else was thinking that way. I think he's the only one that was thinking that way. So
he said in the ABC interview that filming on this set made him love filmmaking again.
right.
And it seemed that the most genuine emotion he showed, and and again, I'm trying not to discount the fact that this is a traumatic event that he was a part of.
Right.
The most genuine emotion he showed in that interview was like the sorrow for the loss of this project.
Yeah, I'd say that's about accurate. I mean, he does have remorse for what happened, but he's justified it by saying it was a freak accident, which I do see that. But that's the way he's justifying it, and I guess that's his defense mechanism. In terms of the legal aspect of this, I'm a little bit like, okay, so Justice card is upright. The Hierophant, this is legal issues, and then the Hierophant is about follow through and commitment, and the Six of Swords is like distance, change, travel, things like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he's going to be nailed for anything. It's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult. The reason for that is I feel like I'm seeing people being at the right place at the right time and the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm feeling like circumstantial stuff. And I feel like there's a lot of like, I guess that would be an alibi or something. Like to me, there's like a lot of evidence here, like Ace of Swords, opportunity, Two of Pentacles, business, Chariot, like that's like traveling or like a car or something or moving things. So for me, I think his strongest defense here is that something was moved. So I don't know what that means, but something, because I could see this. I mean, the Ace of Swords here could easily be the prop, okay? Because it's a tangible item, and then this is about moving, and this is about business as usual or an exchange between two people. So for me, it's possible that he could get away with something because, not that I'm saying he did anything wrong, but what I'm saying is he could get, his biggest strength in terms of evidence of defense, better way to put it, is that there was an exchange that he wasn't privy to, and something was moved at the last minute.
There's allegations, and we'll get into the armorer's lawsuit. There's allegations about how this bullet might have ended up on set, but there isn't anything that points to Baldwin knowing that this weapon was loaded with a live round. And there's theories about others on set maybe putting a live round that magically appeared on set to spite somebody else, not Alec Baldwin. So it's possible that if anyone's criminally liable, it's the person who got the bullet onto the set, not the person whose the gun was in their hand, because he didn't know. And that's one of the big questions. He says he doesn't know. I don't think there's anything to show that he knew that the gun was loaded with a live bullet.
I mean, I have an answer of whether he knew or not.
Yeah, tell me.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
So the moon is reversed, which is like revealing of a secret or speaking your truth or being honest. If it's upright, it would be a lie. When it's reversed, it's not. The Ace of Cups is other people here, and the King of Wands, his misguided aggression. So I definitely will tell you that I don't believe that he knew, but he was the easiest person to use.
Well, yeah, the gun was in his hand. He's the easy one to be mad at because the gun was in his hand.
But I'm saying, if anybody else did anything, which we'll look into, but the King of Wands is reversed, which is like a flat out, like, you're a dummy and I'm going to use the dummy. Think of it like a himbo who's like, I can get you to do anything. Like, he's not a mastermind. He's an egotistical person. Like,
yeah, he's just the talent, right?
Yeah. He's definitely more upset about the fact that he can't do other projects and he feels like it destroyed his career and stuff. That's what he's focused on right now. The towers, like everything being destroyed, Page of Wands, my reputation's ruined. I can't speak my truth. The Five of Cups, I'm disappointed in all this. So for him, I definitely think he's definitely grieving his career right now more than anything, which you
That's
decide.
exactly what came up in his if you guys watch his ABC interview, when he got the most genuinely upset when he was talking about his career, like, "I used to work with Anthony Hopkins. I used to work with all these amazing actors." This movie, I think he saw as his, like, return to the spotlight, and
Yep.
return to being, like, it being, a sought after actor, and he was like, "This is a big deal for me. I left my kids to do this. This was it. I love filmmaking again. Like, everything's on this upward trajectory." And then this accident happened to me, and now it's all my fault. That's really how his interview came across. Like, this is happening to me. I didn't do anything. Let me get back to my life.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Also, he was trying to prove himself to someone. I don't know if is he married?
He is.
There's a part of him that's trying to prove himself to his wife, by the way, which is weird. Um, I don't know what's going on with their connection, but there's some part of him that was like, "I'm going to prove to you that I can do this," which is really bizarre. I don't know why that's showing up. That's right here.
Some interesting dynamics there. When he was giving a roadside interview, the dynamics between the two of them were very hostile, and he was very much like, "I'm speaking, don't interrupt me. I've got this. I can do this." And, that's very interesting. She is younger than he is, and there's definitely been some tension, but I didn't read too much into it at the time when I was watching it, because 'cause I'm like, "These people are under tremendous stress. This just happened." But there seemed to be some tension there.
Yeah, I think he's oversold himself, and so I think he's embarrassed. I think that's what that is. He's over delivered. I mean, over promised and under delivered. So there we have Empress. There she is. The Four of Wands is their environment, their home. And then we see the Eight of Pentacles, which is effort, which to me is like I don't know if I would say maybe there may have been an ultimatum issued, but what I can say is that it was very important. This thing was like more than just his career, it was also his life. Like this was like a very important this is one of those moments where if you fail, everything is destroyed in your life, not just your career. So there's some sort of issue with their dynamic that I almost think it was does he have money issues?
You're making me wonder that if because he was also producing this, so if it did really well, a low budget film, he could stand to make quite a lot of money, and this will never be finished, and as a producer, he's being sued and will be sued multiple times, and as the actor holding the gun, he's being civilly sued, multiple times, but he will probably never be able to be insured again as a producer, with an accident like this on set, depending on what the investigation shows up. So it's kinda done.
Yeah, that's why it's so Page of Pentacles money, and expectations. And this is about detaching. Yes. So he was having money issues, or at least some sort of issue with finances before this. And this was a very important thing. I think that's how the wife is connected, because there's an important focus on this financially as well. Probably why he was so delusional, because he had to believe it because he had no choice. This was definitely his like Hail Mary. So
Interesting. That
I
might
kind
be
of,
when you put up money very f the first. That's so
yeah,
interesting because the budget on this film was the biggest point of contention that was talked about, running up to this, and whether those corners being cut is what led to this, and if that's the case, the civil lawsuits are going to be very, very expensive.
yeah. Well, I would expect them to go into his character. Like to me, what this reads as is like, let's say someone has a gambling addiction and they gambled all their money away. It's like there's a lot of mismanagement here. And so this was like, I just need to get this so then I can fix everything. Like, when someone needs to borrow money over and over again and they borrow it from one person to borrow it from another person. It's like that. So for me, this issue is definitely this stuff, by the way, this money shit is going to come out like 100% as we get more into some of the civil suits and stuff like that. I think people are going to look into him as a person, and this stuff is going to start to spill. um I mean, you reap what you sow there. So yeah, I don't know, that's kind of how I see it. Like he's just kind of an egotistical person who took a shot in the dark and failed.
I mean, the shot in the dark's rough.
Yeah, it's to me, I will say again, to reiterate, I do see him having remorse and regret, but I don't know if he has the emotional capacity to understand and comprehend, if that makes sense. Not to
Yeah.
excuse.
No, it's not an excuse, but
Yeah.
I mean, I in all the looking at the lawsuits, I really don't think that he maliciously thought that he was going to shoot and kill someone.
Right.
Whether he pulled the trigger because he thought he was just going to be like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I don't think he thought that there was a bullet in the gun, because why would there be?
Yeah.
So wild. Um, Whether he pulled the trigger or not, he's saying that he didn't. I think he did. That's the only way that gun's going to go off. And that might have been out of frustration, but I don't think he intended it to then fire. But everything leading up to this, with camera crew walking off, he seemed super frustrated that they were unhappy with their hotel accommodations and it was a low budget movie. And why can't you all get your, shit together and get this taken care of? And he seems to be so kind of shut down in the trauma aftermath of it that he's just mourning the loss of his career. But again, I can kind of understand that. I mean, he didn't think he was going to shoot and kill somebody at work, and that has to be a traumatic experience. And people are all questioning whether he knew and did it or not, and that's got to be hard too. So it's not an excuse. It's just this really can be a tragic accident as to Alec Baldwin. Now, whoever got that bullet onto set, that is a different story. But
I just want to look at one thing, because you said no one knows if he pulled the trigger or not. I'm looking at that.
okay.
Is it possible that the prop was like okay, how do I word this? Obviously it was broken. Is it possible it was broken? Because like I'm not really sure the whole scenario of how it it went off, but the Seven of Cups is about being dealt a hand of realism. So this is a realistic problem, right? So to me, that means that this situation is serious. So I don't see people like flat out lying. Okay. And the Page of Swords is reversed, the Two of Wands and Nine of Swords. So that to me is not a direct energy. Those are all indirect. These are things that are not worth fighting about. The Two of Wands would be indirect friction between people. And this is like overanalyzing or overthinking. So for me, when I look at cards like that, if I'm asking if someone did something, no. If I'm asking if someone like intentionally pulled the trigger or something like that, the Eight of Swords is reversed. So no, Eight of Swords is a victim of circumstance. To me, normally, like let's say I had a prop, right? And I had to pull it all the way to make it like shoot, or I had to move it to do a certain way. This prop was either tampered with or maliciously, I don't know, or was broken to the point where I didn't have to pull it all the way for it to shoot.
And that's possible. And there's been speculation about that. We don't know because the police have the weapon. So they will know if it was working and functioning properly or not. All the speculation about could it have gone off is speculation from people on the internet not knowing the condition of the gun, because that's all we have to go with. Baldwin in his interview said he was cocking it back and never pulled the trigger, but let the back go, and then it just went off. And that's how he described it. And a lot of people are like, that's not possible with this kind of gun. But if the gun's not properly working, it would be possible to pull that back and then it fly forward and possibly
So I
initiate the
I
gun.
can tell you the guns that he was practicing with and the one that he was using acted and behaved differently, because this is him, okay, and this is the connection that he shares to what he has. So this would be the gun, and then this is inconsistencies. So this one is different than what I used before, which means there's an inconsistency, and if there's an inconsistency in a victim of circumstance, I do not believe that this was behaving the way the other guns behave. Now I can't really get more information further than that. All I can tell you is the specific gun that went off, it was not behaving the way it was supposed to. It was not behaving like the other ones that he had used. And there was a lot of inconsistencies. Again, I'm seeing cut corners here. And the Ten of Cups is reversed, which tells me that one person, we're going to have to go into the conspiracy after this, but one person said something. The Ten of Cups is reversed, which means there was a person here that was like, wait, don't do that, or don't touch that, or that's not right, and was intercepted. There was someone warning someone for sure. Ten of Cups reverse. Someone warned someone.
All right. Very interesting. When you came up with the victim of circumstances, I'm like, do I have to feel? And I'm trying to feel empathy for Alec Baldwin. I do have empathy for the circumstances. I don't. His mouth, though, like his mouth kills me. Like the arrogance and the just how
Yep.
egocentric he is. And he tries to give an article seeming or an interview seeming empathetic to the woman who was killed and her child and her husband. And he just comes across as crying about the loss of his career. And I'm like, well, if that's really how you feel, like I can understand that you feel that way, but maybe don't go on national television with that shit. Maybe go to therapy with it. Because you're
Well,
allowed
yeah,
to mourn both, but the
we have to
public,
understand he's been placated his whole life.
true.
He's been rewarded for this behavior consistently. He's a man child. So for him,
He
there's
acts
no
like such a man child.
yeah, there's no change. And he's the perfect scapegoat. So and he's just gonna keep falling into that over and over and over again because it's again, whoever picked him to be the person for this, A plus. I mean, really. Like you couldn't have picked a better idiot. No offense, but it's the truth.
Well, the fool did come up, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. And obviously, everyone needs to be held accountable for what they did. But
The thing
I'd
is,
be
if it truly is an accident, I mean,
yeah.
there's no criminal accountability for that. There is room in the law for true accidents to be just that. But if there was cost cutting and corner cutting and things like that, that's where the civil lawsuits come in. And that's where production becomes liable. And that's not Alec Baldwin, the actor, responsible for that. That's Alec Baldwin, the producer, and the production companies and the businesses who are like, make do with less, push, push, push. That's where they all get held responsible, is with the money, not with the criminal stuff.
Well, guys, that was part 1 of this amazing collab with Emily. So part 2 is going to be on her channel, and it is going to be the what is it? The plot armor?
Sabotage.
Yeah,
Was the armor sabotaged on this set?
yeah. So there's a conspiracy theory that the armory and all of the props and everything was sabotaged, and we went over that on her channel. So go check it out. It's really juicy, and I think you guys are gonna be surprised. So stay tuned, and thank you so much. Bye.